And we have 5 commissioners in the chambers. Mr. Administrator, our first and only public hearing on adoption of the annual update to the Tallahassee-Leon County Comp Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 19 is your first and only public hearing on the adoption of the annual update to the CIE to the Leon County Comprehensive Plan as required by Florida statutes. We have no speakers on this item. Happy to answer any questions you might have. We're recommending option 1.
Staff recommendation for option 1 at this time.
Move staff's recommendation.
Right. Move staff recommend. I got you, Commissioner Proctor. Move staff recommendation by Commissioner Deloge, seconded by Commissioner Lindley. I have Commissioner Proctor in queue to speak. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I was wondering for a status on the rural designation where we have one house on 10 acres. Are we moving forward to review that, or is it still a stagnant dream of tomorrow? The rural designation, are we moving in any direction to review, to hold citizen
midst of the land use element update, as you know, and that was something that you would ask that we take through that process. This that is here, this amendment that is here before you today is simply an update to the capital improvements element. It's something we do every year, but that is something that we've taken to the working group, and so we'll bring back a status update on that as we bring up the status updates on the land use element update.
After Hurricane Michael, I am convinced today, more so than ever, that if you had relatives who lived in Panama City, or if you had relatives or friends or whomever, church folks or whomever, and you had 10 acres or 20 acres in Leon County, you could not build but 2 houses on those 20 acres. And in a time such as what we've experienced, the report that we received, Hurricane Michael report, the people who are in disarray all across North Florida, it further exacerbates the need for us to review these high standards. There's not even a basis for emergent relief. If people had family members needing to come over here, and it just speaks to a very tall standard. The bar is very, very high for 21st century standards. I would like for us to look at that. I like for what was the group you call it?
It's the land use element update process. Those are the types of questions that are being discussed. And so we'll be bringing those updates to you this year with a package of amendments. There's actually another round of public outreach on that starting next month. So we'll be bringing you those updates over the next 2 to 3 months.
Okay. I just noted, Chairman, your district has that. I don't know if your district even has that standard. But out there on the east side, Miccosukee, Woodville, we have that standard, and it's just way too high, the bar. All right, thank you very much.
The motion has been made to accept staff recommendation option 1. It's moved by Commissioner Deloge, seconded by Commissioner Lindley. No other commissioners in queue to speak. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. Passes unanimously. Any citizens to be heard on non-agenda items at this time, Mr. Administrator?
We have none, Mr. Chairman.
All right. At this time, we would move to Mr. County Attorney for comments.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any substantive items, but I did want to introduce you to Emily Peffin, our newest lawyer on the staff, who's sitting here in the first row. She's been here a whole 2 weeks, and we haven't driven her off yet. So
the night is young.
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Emily. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no items. Appreciate it.
All right. We will start on the, I think we'll start on the end. Not that that's the worst place to be, but Commissioner Minor, if you're ready, we'll go to you for commissioner comments, and we'll just move this way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief because I probably have said enough this evening. Last week, I went to the Florida Association of Counties initial training for county commissioners. It's you all know this very well, but it's basically a really great association's course curriculum for new county commissioners, indoctrinating them into the whole process. You know how a county commissioner's roles are defined in Florida statutes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've seen, bits and pieces with each different little course I've been to. Our county administrator has been there. Our county attorney has been there. We've had Matthew Cavell and Kevin Peters presenting to the rest of the county commissioners from around the state. And it really says a lot when, as a new county commissioner, I'm in these trainings, and our own our county administrator, our county attorney, and our staff are there. Presenting to the entire, new crop of county commissioners throughout the state. And then after they leave, having my colleagues from other counties talk about how impressive Leon County is, how much talent we have, and how much expertise we have. And I just want to share that because it really, it's not something that, if you're used to winning championships year after year, it doesn't always occur to you how good and talented our Leon County staff is, but that was made very clear to me this last week. So kudos to our county administrator and the staff he's assembled, and to our county attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Next up, Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you. And I want to say that this summer when you go to your next FAC meeting, you'll see your fellow commissioner, Nick Maddox, as your president of the Florida Association of Counties. So it never stops, That's what we do here. We lead. I want to thank the County Commission for all of your support for the King activities which occurred last Wednesday here in the courthouse. It was a sold-out, packed-out house, and we appreciate the Martin Luther King Foundation, Inc. of Florida. And on Sunday, the Southern Christian Leadership Council, and your support of these events mean a lot. I was very pleased this year to note the Martin Luther King event at the Civic Center, as well as the NAACP's sponsorship of the event on Monday morning over at the state capitol. And Friday morning was the school board and NAACP. So we appreciate the support that the county gives to those events. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Dozier. Oh, Commissioner Proctor, I knew that was too quick.
I apologize. Yeah, that was real fast. I apologize. Commissioners, I wanted to circulate, but I thought it prudent to weigh in with you for a board resolution encouraging the reopening of the American government. It's not that I don't think that we in Leon County in the state of Florida can handle a lot of the issues for America, but the partnership of our federal government, the loss of income, even for persons who are working and working hard like Americans, but not getting paid. And I wanted to float the request for a proclamation from our government, our local government, and to our congresspersons and our legislative delegations that they do everything they can to reopen America's government. There's a lot to be said about nation states that we may not think is ritzy and glitzy as ours, but some of the poorest countries in the whole wide world, they may not have some stuff that we got, but they got a government that's open today and going to open tomorrow. And I would like to request a resolution from our board to the executive and the legislative branches of government that we reopen America's government. And I'd like to make that as a motion.
Was there a second? Okay. Motion's been made to submit a proclamation to reopen our federal government. Resolution. I thought he said proclamation as well. Did you say both or just a resolution? You said a resolution. Okay.
I was going to put the elements together of what I thought we should touch on, but I didn't want to jade your thoughts about what should go in it. So maybe we have to do a draft and float it, and everybody pick on it a little bit. And after we, reacted to a draft, then everybody can weigh in on it. But I didn't want to come up with all the bullets.
Mr. Administrator reminded me that our policy requires an agenda item prior to the resolution, so we'll put it on the agenda.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
On point, Commissioner Dozier, then Commissioner Lindley.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Lindley, I didn't see that you were in queue. Please go ahead.
God willing, that thing will be over in no time at all, let's hope. But I think maybe a letter from our chairman expressing our concerns maybe would be more efficient and quick. I mean, a resolution, we need an agenda item. We have to, it would be weeks before we got back to it. I'm all in for supporting that, but I don't know if the chairman would be willing to, I'll help you write it.
I'll let Commissioner Dozier speak, and then I'll speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I appreciate the sentiment. We all want it reopened, but letters pile up. I think we need to be efficient with what we're doing. If we want to send a letter on something, let's send a letter about the FEMA deadline for the debris and help other people, because that's what they got to take up the moment it's open. I just am not convinced that we could actually help in this sense, and I think our efforts could be put into something else. But my first thought was, hopefully the government will be open before we have an agenda item, so that was it.
Okay, well, we need to start with the resolution because there was a motion made and it has been seconded, but it would have to come back in the form of an agenda item at our next scheduled board meeting. All those in favor of that, you may, on point.
I'm okay with it being an agenda item. I'm very sensitive to how we politicize this because I don't think that's the point. And so there's some great language that NACO is using about where they stand on this. I talked about it when I was in New Mexico last week. I mean, you don't see the counties shutting down, and there's a reason. You know what? 911, the jails, we don't have that kind of luxury. So, and as is pointed out, a lot of the funding that flows downhill is going to stop pretty soon here. So we're going to be able to stop being able to deliver services. So you might just, there's some good language that NACO's been using for that exact thing.
Well, I think we stick with the truth. The whole thing is politicized. It's politicized. And the position to keep people out of our country and to hold American workers hostage, that's political. You can't escape that. I think if we tell the truth that we want a functioning government of which we're being taxed for, that we pay taxes to, that the great minds of Washington can get together and figure how to make people who've done nothing except go to work, and now they're working for free if they're working at all. Let's tell that truth, and we support men and women who work for America's government to get paid. It's very easy to slip into an age before the 13th Amendment when men and women worked and never got paid. And that is what America's government is doing right now, in a sense, violating the 13th Amendment. If you're working, you get paid. If not, what are you? What's your status? So it may not be cute and politically, who cares? We're trying to do the right thing. We're trying not to violate the 13th Amendment and work people for free by our own federal government. This is not the time for timidity with respect to telling and speaking truth to power. That's the hope, and I pray that our government has that strength to be a voice for many workers who love America, patriotic, all of that. And the diminishing decline of services and the ripple effect is yet to be largely when we have the slowdown, when we have the services diminished. It's just a matter of just a little, it's going to get, third world-like. And we should stand up while we got a voice and speak our truth. And that's what I'm asking commissioners, if you will.
Commissioner Minor, and then we will take it to a vote as a resolution. I would like to comment before you go for. Actually, I'll hold my comments. Go ahead, Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question about the process. We actually are not allowed under Sunshine Law to work together on a draft. So either the chairman or staff would need to draft the resolution for presentation at the next agenda. Correct.
Good. I want to speak in the place of an eternal optimist, and that is that this will be resolved prior to February or our next scheduled meeting. I look forward to, several of you talked about great minds, and I think that there will be something moving forward that somehow, some way we can meet somewhere. And when I say we, I say our federal leaders. However, I am open to it being on the next agenda as far as a discussion and moving forward if a resolution has not been, not our resolution, but their resolution hasn't come to an end by then. I've seen no other commissioners in queue. Ms.
I say the New York
Commissioner
Times just a while ago reported a bipartisan proposal on the table right now. So there's hope.
And I didn't read that, but again, eternally optimistic. I would, we'll bring it back as an agenda. All those in favor of bringing the resolution back as an agenda item in our February meeting, is that what we're voting on here? Am I clear, Commissioner Maddox? Okay. Signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. Okay. Motion passes 6-1. Oh, I'm sorry, 5-2. I did not. Thank you. Commissioner Dozier, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Deloge, you mentioned CSX Rail during the conversation about the hurricane. I'm not sure if this is related. I don't know of any storm damage right now, but I did note over the weekend that the deal between Rail USA and CSX has fallen through. So CSX is looking for a new buyer or operator for the rail line. Mr. County Administrator, we had talked about this before the holidays in reaching out to Rail USA to address maintenance issues, any updates for the rail bridge at Lake Lafayette. If we can circle back to CSX, I know we have done that in the past. I know that our Brent and others have been talking with them, and I think the immediate issue over the holidays was addressed, but I don't want to lose that issue even though Rail USA is not going to operate the rail line. Is that, you don't need any other direction?
Mr. Administrator.
No, I've got it. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to say congratulations. Apparently, Commissioner Maddox now knows who his next child's going to be, or maybe I shouldn't say who, but going to have a son, is that right? Yes, so congratulations. I'm sure the girls are very excited. Good. Apparently there was some shindig over the weekend and did not go, sunshine and everything. But wanted to say congratulations to you. And the last thing, Mr. Chair, is thinking about our public hearing, and I really should have saved that to last because that was a sweeter thing. Now we're going back to public policy. And I didn't want to mention this in the public hearing discussion, even though it does deal with the comp plan and others. We've got a lot of new folks, one on our commission. We've got several at the city. And I wondered, maybe this is a question for you, Mr. County Administrator, if we'd ever done a workshop kind of looking at the general issues associated with our comp plan. It has struck me that we often go right into the amendments. We talk about the land use issues in general. But I think with our new colleagues at the city, it may be in our interest, and this could dovetail with some of the land use components, the changes that are going to be introduced, I assume next fall or during the cycle. If we could, I wanted to suggest we do a workshop with the city before that to just discuss the land use, the comp plan in general, to make sure we're all on the same page before we start taking up big changes to the land use components. So that would be my motion, and of course the invitation would have to be extended to the city either through staff or Mr. Chair through your mayor chair meeting.
Mr. Administrator, do we get a second? Okay.
Mr. County Administrator, you got enough one? Okay.
Point of
Thank you, Mr.
Information, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Rose, you're saying that we looking at this procedurally, are we looking at the substantive issues of comp plan? Are there particular issues such as the rural designation that has one house and 10 acres? How would you see our review of this?
I do not think any of us have the time it'll take, and I love our staff for doing this, to go through every element of the comp plan. So no, I am not suggesting that, and we're going to see a lot of comp plan changes or other policy discussion, whether it's here or at the city. That's something we have taken up before and could take up in the future. I'm thinking of this more as our general goals, objectives in the comp plan. It has changed in the last 10 years with DCA being disbanded. The state rules have changed. There's been a lot of changes, and we have new folks. So it's more of a high level, where are our land use goals and the updates, so that we're prepared to receive those changes that staff and our Citizens Committee are going to be recommending.
So I think what you're proposing and has been seconded is an informational workshop to be offered for the county commissioners as well as the city commissioners prior
Yes.
to
Provided, not necessarily offered,
Okay.
but a formal workshop for us to sit down
So
and
the,
discuss.
so the opportunity would be provided and the city commission would be included on the invitation list?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Motion's been made by, is everybody clear about the motion? All right. Made by Commissioner Dozier, seconded by Commissioner Minor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Commissioner Dozier, is that it? Commissioner Maddox, proud papa.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We did find out on Saturday that we are bringing a boy into the world. The girls are very excited. As a matter of fact, my youngest told me if I was bringing a girl home to take it back. And for those of you who know Miley, know she actually did say that. She's my little spark plug, but we're excited. We're proud. So. I did want to ask a question real quick, Mr. County Administrator. I got a call from the folks out in Miccosukee about their community center. I know I was told that we did not receive the grant monies that we were expecting or that we applied for from the federal government, I believe.
Yeah, we did not receive it. We're waiting. We're waiting to have a meeting with DEO as a follow-up to see what we can do differently for the next round.
Right. They had a couple concerns. The first concern was the actual building itself. Like Old Concord School and the site. They didn't believe that school could be transformed into something that they could be proud of and call a community center. I assured them that we wouldn't take a building that was built, I think you said in the 1800s. We wouldn't take a building that was built in the 1800s and refurbish it unless we thought we could do a first-class job at doing that. But they did have some concerns there. So a couple things. First thing I want to ask, and I'm pretty sure you guys are already doing this, is that, especially in the design phase of that building, are there a couple charrettes or anything like that so folks can get involved and actually know what's going to happen, know what it's going to look like, that kind of thing, so they can have a little bit of say in what's going on with that?
Absolutely, Commissioner. If I may, Mr. Administrator, we have the regular work group.
Yes.
Where we have an architect engaged. We'll do some very preliminary plans that'll be brought back to the work group, so they'll absolutely be part of it. And as you all know, also as part of last year's budget process, the board did adopt as part of the 5-year plan to set aside $250,000 a year for several years out of the future life dollars. Plus, we had money in the bank. The CDBG grant was obviously going to be something that would have helped us move it faster, but the county has committed significant dollars over the next several years, so it might just takes a little longer to get there, but the plan is still to get there.
Good, thank you. And the other part of it was the existing community center that they have. I think it was said that no more money would be invested into it. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but if there are repairs that need to be made to that building, I don't want to let that building get it out of shape while we're trying to put another building in shape. I still want them to have a facility that's as close to top notch as we can get it while we're trying to build them something else. And so I wanted to get some understanding on where that's going and how that, if that's true or.
Long term, we keep all of our facilities up to snuff, so we intend to do that until such time that the board makes a decision to phase out the old community center, if you will.
Thank you. Commissioner Loge, I know this is your district, but I got some calls, And for the folks out in Miccosukee, I will make this comment. I got some pretty strong calls about just their reservations about the Old Concord School as a whole. In the building they're in the history behind that building, the history behind the Old Concord School. I will hope that at some point the community out in Miccosukee can come together and be able to have something that they're proud of, and that we can all touch and agree on what that is. And that's why I said those workshops, design workshops, and those community meetings are so important, because that community out there can be split in some ways. But I think when you're going to invest the amount of money that we're talking about investing into a community center out there, you don't want something that people are turning up their nose at or say they won't enjoy for one reason or the other. So plenty of input from the citizens out there is what I would suggest, what I would actually prefer. And I told them that I would ask you specifically for staff, specifically to make that happen. So thank you for hearing me out on that, Commissioner Loge. Thank you so much for allowing me to say that for the district.
Get a point of clarification before you move on.
Yes, sir.
So this money is not money that the county turned back?
No, we applied for money and we didn't get it.
Okay.
And so, as Alan said, we got $250,000 that
now you recognize that some of us have been told that we rejected or we refused the money. But what I just heard Alan say was that we have simply not received the money.
No, so that's not what I heard. What I heard from the folks that called me was they understood it that we applied for a grant, CBG grant, and we did not receive that grant. We didn't turn anything back. We didn't win the grant. And so because we didn't receive that grant, that we couldn't move forward with the building. But like I said before, the first thing is getting those folks, all the folks out there, comfortable with the building. I know you can't win them all, but I sure would like to win a majority of them. So that's that. And thank you for indulging me on that, Mr. Chair. The second thing is, while we're away, I got a call before we're away on the flooding issue of the road. I think it's out in your area, isn't it? There was a flood issue that was in the newspaper. It's in your area.
It's actually District 4. Excuse me.
Oh, District 4.
But yes, it's on the border.
Okay, right.
Dempsey Mayo near W.T. Moore.
Yes. And the young lady called me and she had some serious concerns about it. And Mr. County Administrator, I'm pretty sure that you're up to snuff on it. But can you just give me just a quick little something on where we are, what we can do, what we can't do, what we have done on that piece? Was it Mailer? It was Mailer, right? Mailer?
Can I get that information to you?
Yes.
Outside of this meeting?
Yes,
We
please.
produced a lot of pretty detailed information.
No,
I can get it to you right away.
That would be absolutely perfect. I'll take that. All right. And look, it's good to be back on the dais with you all, and I look forward to a good year.
Mr. Chair,
On point.
just really quickly on this. Thank you for bringing it up. I just wanted to, we have had so many different issues around Lake Lafayette and Pedrick and other areas with flooding in the last couple months. Our staff has been responding incredibly well, working with individual homeowners and others. So I just wanted to say thank you to them. The water table is extremely high. So I think, Mr. County Administrator, if there's any indication about the water table, the effects of flooding in certain areas, because we can't deal with every area. Some of it is just the amount of rainfall. That's my understanding. So if we could get information from you all about that, I think it might help us address the questions when they come in as well. Is that, thank you, Commissioner Maddox.
Commissioner Lindley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have three things, and one of them, I was at the Chamber's Economic Forum breakfast last week, and Carrie Post's name didn't come up per se, but when the Federal Reserve Atlanta Executive Director was talking about economic growth in this area, he cited our tourism and visitors efforts as #1 in growth in the last year, I believe it was. And so congratulations on that. I know there's a lot figuring into it, and I hope it hasn't all been hurricane evacuees that have contributed to our visitors. But anyway, congratulations on good work on that. Then I have two things. I've been on Sheriff McNeil's ad hoc committee on pretrial incarceration and monetary bail for the last year. And I would like to propose for a budget discussion public funding of our pretrial release cost. Right now, this goes through the Office of Intervention and Detention, and only about 7% of the costs are actually recouped. The rest of it, we actually end up paying. It's about $84,000 out of a $1.1 million budget are the numbers I have. And if we're just recouping 7% of those costs from people who are incarcerated, and this is for the GPS ankle bracelets and that sort of thing, I would like to look into that. I mean, it seems the judges are saying that they spend a lot of judicial time just trying to evaluate financial responsibility. That takes a lot of effort. There are some constitutional implications because of just the inequities of some people paying for that and others not. And so, given the relatively small amount, I would just like us to get a little thorough look in that and consider taking on complete public funding of that. I'd like to make a motion to that effect, I guess, to have a budget discussion item.
Have a discussion about what our choices might be.
Well, it could be a budget discussion or an agenda item separately. What would be the
Mr. Administrator?
It would make perfect sense as an upcoming budget discussion item.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
It's not a motion, correct? It's just going to be a budget
To have a
discussion
budget
item.
discussion, but I guess we need the motion to have a budget.
Okay.
Have it as part of our budget discussion.
Okay, so a motion has been made to have it as part of our budget discussion item, seconded by Commissioner Dozier. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the third thing, I was appointed by you, Mr. Chairman, to be on the Downtown Business Association group as a liaison, a non-voting member. But when I was, that's a private organization, it's a club, basically. And when I was there, the city attorney pointed out that me representing the county and the city commission has a member as well, that when the two of us are there, these should be public meetings. They should be announced as such. They should follow all the conformities of the sunshine laws. I don't think that we need to be on that board any more than we need to be on any other private club's board. We are non-voting members, but these implications for Jeremy Matlow, City Commissioner Matlow and I are the two now. We were there, but we were kind of there out of the sunshine because that was a private meeting. And I'm not sure how we ever ended up having a county representative on that any more than we would have a county representative at Kiwanis or Rotary or the Elks Club for that matter. So I would like to make a motion that we re-examine why we have a representative on that board. I'm not going to attend any more of those meetings just as a point of
I would second that
protest.
motion. I would second that we look at our service on the GBA. Yes.
We do have a member, I am also a member on the Downtown Improvement Authority, which governs basically the same.
I would think that, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Lindley, I think you make a very valid point. My question is why are we evaluating it? Why don't we just go ahead and say that we would like to release our seat from there in this moment right now? I don't see any reason why we can't, why we shouldn't, unless my other suggestion was that we have the chair reach out to that organization to see if there's when they go. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't just go ahead and say that.
Well, is there an ordinance? Is there some ordinance language that we need to adjust? Or if not, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
It's actually listed in our committee's policy. So we'd recommend if you
amend our
policy.
Okay.
Would you need an agenda item to amend the policy, or could we just make that decision?
Could we just make a motion tonight to amend that policy?
Then I will make a motion, or I will second that. No, I can't. I'd like someone to second
But
that.
you like the idea a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm making a motion that we amend that policy to withdraw a county commission member from this club.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion's been made. I think I have Commissioner Proctor. Are you back in queue?
Yep. Did you finish?
Yeah.
Okay. I failed to ask the county commission. I had a request for that we would ask the Florida Game and Freshwater Fish Commission to restock to stock Lake Jackson with some fish. My understanding, as I heard your discussion about water, and I forgot that
Commissioner
the lake
Proctor,
is very high.
I hate to interrupt you, but can we dispose of the other business that's on the floor, and then I'll come right back to you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes, Commissioner Dozier.
Mr. Chair, I support this move entirely. I think downtown business has ebbed and flowed. I'm glad they're kind of reestablished,
Yeah.
but I think this is a good decision. On the other hand, when I served on that group for a very short amount of time years ago, it occurred there's a lot of business associations in town that we don't hear from. And I had the same question, why were we a member of this one but not others? As OEV explores different ways to engage the business community and through the task force, I'm not sure if it should come from this board or we go away for Blueprint, but I think there should be letting downtown business know that this action has taken place if it's approved tonight, that we still want to find some way to engage with them. And there had been an idea floated years ago about having an opportunity for the president of a business association, any of them in town, to meet with, share ideas, whatever it might be. I think this may be a role for OEV. I don't want to close the door and say we don't want to hear from that association. This is a long-time policy, but look for other opportunities to engage them through OEV or other options.
Right.
Commissioner Maddox, and then we'll come back to you, Commissioner Lindley.
Yeah, I think, I like your idea. I don't think us not hearing from them is the intention of this at all. I think if we told them that, hey, listen, you can have us on your board, you can operate in the sunshine, or you can have us off your board, you can do it another way. I think they would choose to have us off. I think that, but when you think about all of the different business organizations in this town, it would be akin to us having a county commissioner or city commissioner on as designated for NEBA. No, I get where you're coming from, but what I was trying to say is that not just DB, Downtown Business Association, even NEBA, having a forum where those organizations can come here every now and then, the president of organizations, and give us presentation or request presentation from them on what's going on, so we hear what's going on and what their priorities might be. Isn't a bad idea. We don't necessarily have to be on these private boards, but at the same time, like you said, Commissioner Dozier, we would like to know the information and the things they talk about and the priorities that they may have. So maybe even, looking at that as a possibility versus us sitting on those organizational boards would be a better idea. Thank you.
Mr. Administrator, I think that what we're talking about here is amending policy. You'll bring that back to us in the form of an agenda item. All right. Does that summarize it for you?
Yes, it does. And I just want to reaffirm, unless those business associations want to govern in the sunshine with public notice and all of the rest that implies, we can still attend. They have monthly meetings that are open to the public. We will hear from them, I think. It's good for OEV to reach out to some that might be more shy than the Downtown Business Association, but I just don't think we have an appropriate role there in an official way. I don't think we should pick that of all.
And I'm sure when they bring back a policy recommendation that it will include something in the form of staff being informed of what's going on in the meetings so that we're still connected in some sort of way. Commissioner Proctor, you're going to be brief, I know.
Commissioner, I request, place in motion request that we make to the Florida Freshwater Fish Commission that they stock Lake Jackson with some good old-fashioned red breast brim, bluegill, shell cracker, bass. As you all know, in speaking about the rising waters, Lake Jackson has, in volume, has doubled, and I don't know if the fish are in proportion to the size of the lake now, and it's not as fishable when you have a huge lake and too few fish. And those who fish there have made requests of me that we ask the Freshwater Wildlife Commission to stock this lake. And while we're doing that, we might do an ask as well for Carr Lake, and I don't know if enough fishing that'll go around either. So that's my request as a motion, that we ask Florida Wildlife Commission to stock Lake Jackson and Little Lake Jackson.
All right, I've been, we will come back to your motion. I've been reminded that, yes, we do need to vote on the.
We haven't done it yet.
All those in favor of bringing back the amended policy signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. Motion passes.
I'm just trying to get out of that.
Yeah, I was second that motion. I had a conversation with some folks from out there, and Mr. Rollins specifically, who asked that we take that up, and I don't think that's a bad idea at all with the water rising. To restock is a good idea. So I'll second that motion.
I don't know that that falls under our umbrella. I think that that would be something that staff would have to bring back after they have a discussion with Game and Fish. Is that correct?
We can make the request if that's the board's direction.
Okay. Oh, we're requesting from Game and Fish. Okay, I think we can. That's different than what I was hearing. Requesting that the Florida Game and Fish allow restocking of Lake Jackson.
Brims, Brims.
Brim specifically. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Commissioner Deloge.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Obviously, Commissioner Proctor, they aren't fishing in the right spots because I can find brim on Lake Jackson at most any day. However, I do want to take a moment to thank both, or actually three. I want to thank Commissioner Maddox and Commissioner Proctor for filling in for me over this past weekend in a couple of different pinches and situations, and Commissioner Deloge as well. I appreciate that. Also want to remind or bring up a proclamation regarding our request for an Arbor Day proclamation that we missed, but we want to include it on the next. All right. So the motion has been made and seconded by Commissioner Deloge. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Any other business to be heard? What's our next meeting date? Does anyone have that on their
February
calendar?
12th.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Adjourned.